Okay, welcome back. This is part two. We're going to make a gradated value scale now. We first, just to review, made our standard value scale that shows us 7 different values, our light, our dark, and our 5 different shades of gray. Well, now we're going to make a scale that does a nice even transition from one value to the next, and we're going to make that seamless. All right, that takes a little bit more work, a little bit more determination, and a little bit more technique, and you got to get used to varying those pressures. But first, we got to make the scale. So like our previous scale here, we're going to use a 7-inch line to get started. So let's put our ruler down on the paper. Let's find 0 at our ruler, make sure 7 is on our right side, and let's take our pencil and run it along our ruler to get 7 inches. So I want a 7-inch line. Now I can use a ruler like this too, just so it maybe looks a little more like the one you have at home. I'm going to rotate my paper once again. And instead of making a 1-inch thick line, and this is for the sake of working and time, we're going to make a 1/2-inch line here, or a tick mark. And we're going to make this rectangle 1/2-inch thick only. So 1 at the top, and a 1/2-inch tick mark at the bottom. So now we've got 2 tick marks here. Then we're going to take that ruler, we're going to lay it along the side of each tick mark, and we're going to start, and again I'm doing this a little bit reversed away, let's move it back over here. We're going to make it right along there, and hopefully you can measure out there when you're done and fix it up a little bit, because you don't want any open ends, so I just have to kind of seal it up a little bit like so. And at this end, I can just put it like so. Now we have a 7-inch by 1/2-inch bar. All right. Same rules are going to apply. We want a sharp tip on our pencil. We want good pencil positioning. We want to remember the way we were taught to shade. But in this case, we're going to start out horizontally, because when you're doing a gradated value scale, you don't want to have any what we call banding or striping. And that often happens when we go vertically, up and down. So we're going to work side to side, and we're again going to start with our dark area. But I think one thing we should do is identify our white space and our black space here, followed by our gray somewhere in the middle. You can do a little dot. All right, so I have my HB pencil, hit it in the sharpener a little bit. Also want to talk about gradual change, and that we want a gradual change of value. We don't want this to be sharp. We want it to be gradually changing. Also, a word might be smooth transitions. So a smooth transition. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to start again working with our HB pencil. It's softer. I'm going to go back and forth here in this area. I know this area is going to be rich and dark. It's our darkest dark, our black. Okay, but I can't do this everywhere. So what I do is I kind of have more of an elongated approach here. And as I move this way, my pressure is loosening up. I'm lightening up my pressure, because I don't want to see any hard change. I want to see a soft change from every value. And we're going to be mirroring this look, but over here. And you'll start to see as I go over my value more than once, it'll start to blend together. This is where I can also use that figure 8 work, where if I see this area right here where I can see like a harsh area, I want to be able to take that out. So I got to go back and forth over the area until it softens up. but I also might have to put some more pressure on, because we remember we can always go darker. It's hard to make things lighter unless we employ an eraser, and I really don't want us using an eraser right now. So I would rather have you get a lighter gray value here and then go back in and slowly darken it up as needed. Okay, so don't go right out of the gate super hard. You can a little bit here if you want, just because you know that this area is really dark. But as you start moving towards the light, okay, we want to make sure that our pressure is light. Again, we're going to eventually transition from our HB to our 2H. So when we start getting here, we want to really pull up, because we have another pencil that we're going to be using. Now again, remember that analogy I guess I made with the feather brushing the paper, like a feather going across the page. That's how light I'm pushing in some of those areas. All right, so now I'm working back up over here, and I'm making sure I'm addressing the edge of the shape. But now I'm going to start pushing a little bit harder. I want to make this area definitely a dark. Address those corners. And transitioning out of the dark into the middle tones, and as I work my way into a light area. So 45-degree angle, I'm holding my pencil. I'm kind of middle of the road if you look at where my hand is. It's not way down here, it's not way back here. It's kind of in the middle, so I have just a general position. I'm getting a nice worn down edge on my pencil, so it's keeping it nice and smooth on the paper here. And you can see it's starting to transition from dark to light. Okay, so that is key here. I'm going to move to my 2H pencil, and now I'm going to start overlapping a little bit of that HB, but you're going to notice a significant change in the way the pencil touches the paper here. You can get a real nice light edge. And in our discussion in class when we were looking at the value PowerPoint, we also were told we shouldn't use our finger. And we said we shouldn't use our finger because our fingers have oils on them. And it's not the best for our paper. It's not the best for our shading technique. But when you need it, you want to use your pinky finger. So I said use your pinky finger, but really try to use the back edge of your pinky finger. And before I use my pinky finger anywhere, I like to take it and rub it on my shirt or my pants just to try to knock off any oils that might have got on there. And I might end up using that just as at that little transition point from light, white, to that lightest gray. It might help you work that. But again, with a little hard work, you should be able to get that nice transition. So here right now I've got a lot of value on here, and I want to make sure I've got some gradual change. So now that I've got my dark, my light, I'm just going to go back in here and really work out the grain. I don't want to see any linear look to it. I want to make sure that I've got some rich value here, that it's really mirroring what we did up here. Okay. Now look in this area. I probably need to work a little bit more in this area. So take my pencil, kind of working that figure 8 look. And I think we're almost there. Again, looking for that gradual change of value, a very smooth transition from light to dark, dark to light. We don't want to see any harsh value changes as we see in the value scale, because this is a gradated value scale showing gradual change. We're still using all the same techniques that we talked about: 45-degree angle, sharp tip, the different ways of approaching the shading, adding value, talking about our pressures. till we get something that we're happy with. So keep working at it a little bit. I'm gonna stop this here, but you keep going till you get it just like you like it. See you in part 3.